Poor mother asks to wash dishes in exchange for food for her daughter to eat. The billionaire hears and can't hold back the tears. The morning light crept in through the curtainless window. Natalie opened her eyes slowly, feeling the weight of another day. Next to her, Emma was still sleeping, her blonde hair spread over the thin pillow. The girl was only 4, but her face already knew sleepless nights. Natalie got up carefully so as not to wake her. The apartment was small, just one room where everything happened. Sleeping, cooking, living. The peeling walls told stories she preferred to forget. She went to the kitchen. 3 steps from the bed, she opened the cabinet. Empty. She opened the other one. Empty too. The refrigerator didn't even turn on anymore. Inside, only a half-empty bottle of water. Natalie closed her eyes and took a deep breath. It wasn't the first time. But every time, it hurt differently. It had been a year and 2 months since her mother had passed. A year and 2 months since the world became colder, harder, heavier. Her mother was the one who held everything together. She took care of Emma while Natalie worked, split the bills, shared the food, shared her life. Now, Natalie only shared the emptiness. The job she had at the laundromat ended 3 months ago. The owner closed the doors overnight. Since then, she had knocked on every door she knew, sent out resumes, asked acquaintances. Nothing. No strong references, no high school diploma, no support system. Who would hire a single mother with no one to watch her daughter? Natalie looked at Emma, still asleep. The girl hadn't eaten since the night before last. They had shared the last piece of stale bread that morning. Since then, only water. Emma woke up. "Mommy?" Her voice was thin, tired. "Good morning, my love." Natalie moved closer and kissed her daughter's forehead. Emma sat up in bed, rubbing her light-colored eyes. "I'm hungry." Natalie felt something tighten in her chest, but she couldn't let Emma see. She couldn't fall apart now. "I know, sweetie. We're going to fix that today. Promise." Natalie held her small hand. "I promise." Emma smiled. That smile broke and fixed Natalie at the same time. After the girl went to the bathroom and drank some water, Natalie helped her put on the only clean outfit she had, a light blue dress, already small, but it still fit. She herself put on worn-out jeans and a simple white shirt. She looked in the cracked mirror on the wall, blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. Tired eyes, but firm. She couldn't give up. Not today. "Where are we going, Mummy?" "We're going to take a walk. See if we can find someone who needs help." "Help? How?" "The kind of help I know how to do. Cleaning, organizing, anything." Emma nodded, even without really understanding. She trusted her mom. She always trusted her. They left the apartment. The hallway smelled of mold and cigarettes. Natalie held Emma's hand tightly as they went down the stairs. The elevator had been broken for months. Outside, the city moved indifferently. Cars, people, noise. Everything continued, as if a child's hunger didn't matter. Natalie started walking. She didn't know exactly where, but she knew she had to try. They passed a bakery. The smell of fresh bread hit Emma's nose. "Mommy, it smells so good." Natalie squeezed her hand and kept walking. She didn't have even 1 coin in her pocket. Nothing. They walked down the main street. Natalie saw a woman sweeping the sidewalk in front of a small clothing store. She gathered her courage and approached. "Excuse me, do you need help with anything? I can clean, organize, whatever you need." The woman stopped and looked her up and down. "No, thank you." The answer was curt. Natalie thanked her and moved on. On the next corner, she tried a small market. The owner was organizing boxes. "Sorry to bother you. Do you need someone to help? I can stock the shelves, clean the stockroom." "Really, anything." The man barely looked at her. "Not hiring." "It doesn't have to be a job. It could be just for today, in exchange for—" "I already said no." Natalie felt the weight of rejection, but held Emma's hand tightly and kept walking. The girl was too quiet. Natalie knew what that meant. Emma was weak. "Let's sit for a bit, sweetie." They sat on a park bench. Emma rested her head on her mother's arm. "Mommy, when are we going to eat?" Soon, honey, soon. But Natalie didn't know if that was true. They stayed there for a few minutes. Natalie watched the people pass by. Families with shopping bags. Children eating ice cream. Everyone going on with their normal lives. She looked at Emma. The girl had her eyes closed, her face pale. No, it couldn't be this way. Natalie stood up. Come on, sweetie. Let's try one more place. Emma stood up with effort. They started walking again. That's when Natalie saw it. A restaurant. It wasn't just any place. It was one of those with glass doors, soft lighting, neatly set tables. A place she would never enter. But hunger doesn't choose its door. Natalie stopped in front of the restaurant. Emma looked up, confused. Are we going to eat here? Natalie took a deep breath. I'm going to try something. She pushed the door. The atmosphere was quiet, elegant. Few tables occupied. Well-dressed people spoke softly. A waiter passed with a tray full of plates. The smell of food was almost unbearable. Emma squeezed her mother's hand. Natalie advanced to the counter. A hostess in a flawless uniform looked at her with some surprise. Good afternoon. May I help you? The voice was polite but cold. Natalie swallowed hard. I'd like to speak to the manager. Do you have a reservation? No, I just need a minute. The hostess hesitated. She looked at Emma, then at Natalie. There was something in her gaze, not exactly contempt, but distance. One moment. She stepped away and called someone. A man in a grey suit appeared. He was older, with a serious, almost impatient air. Yes. Natalie took a deep breath. It was now or never. I know this might seem strange, but I need food for my daughter. The man frowned. Look, this isn't a place for... I'm not asking for free. Natalie spoke firmly, holding on to the dignity she still had. Please, I can wash the dishes. Her voice rose slightly, loaded with restrained desperation. So I'll wash dishes, mop the floor, clean the tables, whatever you need. I just need her to eat something. The silence was heavy. The manager looked her up and down. Then he looked at Emma. The girl held her mother's hand, her light eyes fixed on him. We don't operate like that here. I'm sorry. Please. Natalie's voice began to crack. She hasn't eaten anything today. Emma, not really understanding the situation, but feeling the tension, pulled on her mother's shirt with a weak little hand. Mommy, I'm hungry. The girl's voice echoed in the restaurant, and suddenly all eyes turned to them. The silence was suffocating. People stopped eating, stopped talking. Everyone was looking. Natalie felt tears burning in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not there. Not in front of Emma. The manager sighed, annoyed, clearly embarrassed by the situation. Look, I'm sorry, but house policy, I'll pay. A deep voice cut through the silence. Natalie turned her head. A man was standing next to a nearby table. He was tall, wearing a dark suit, simple but well made, brown hair, straight posture. His eyes were serious, but not cold. He walked toward Natalie and Emma with firm steps. I'll pay for their meal. The manager blinked, surprised. Mr. Harrison, you don't need to... I know I don't, but I'm going to... Michael looked at Natalie. There was no pity in his gaze. There was something different, respect, recognition. Would you like to have dinner with me? Natalie was speechless. Emma looked at her, waiting for an answer. I don't want charity. It's not charity. It's an invitation. Michael crouched down to Emma's level and smiled slightly. What's your name? Emma. Nice to meet you, Emma. I'm Michael. Do you like pasta? Emma nodded shyly. Then let's have pasta together. Emma looked at her mother. Natalie, still processing everything, finally nodded. I accept. Michael stood up and looked at the manager. Prepare a table for 3, and bring water and bread while we choose our order. The manager, clearly flustered, obeyed without question. Yes, Mr. Harrison. Immediately, Michael pointed to a table near the window. Shall we? They sat down. The table had a pristine white tablecloth, shining silverware. Emma settled into the chair, swinging her legs that didn't reach the floor. A waiter quickly appeared with a basket of warm bread and butter. Emma looked at her mother, asking for silent permission. "You can eat, sweetie." Emma grabbed a piece of bread with both hands and took a bite. Her eyes lit up. "Mommy, it's warm." Natalie smiled, feeling immense relief flood her chest. At least now, in this moment, Emma was eating. Michael watched in silence. He didn't ask invasive questions. He didn't look with pity. He was just there. The waiter brought the menu. Michael handed it to Natalie. "Order whatever you want. Don't think about the price." Natalie leafed through the menu but could hardly concentrate. Everything there seemed too expensive, too distant. "Emma, what do you want to eat?" Emma looked at the menu but couldn't read well yet. "Do they have pasta?" Michael smiled. "They do, and it's very good. It's the best dish here." "Then I want pasta." Natalie ordered the same. Simple. She didn't want to take advantage. Michael ordered two and added an extra side of vegetables and natural juice for Emma. While they waited, Michael broke the silence. "How long has it been since you two ate?" The question was direct but gentle. Natalie hesitated. "Since the night before last." Michael nodded without judgment. "And you tried to find work today?" "I tried, and I've been trying for months, but it's hard when you have a child and no one to leave her with." "I understand." The plates arrived. Fresh pasta, homemade tomato sauce, grated cheese on top. Emma ate slowly, savoring every bite. Natalie also ate, but more carefully, as if afraid it would disappear. During dinner, Michael continued, "What did you do for work before?" "Laundromat. And before that, I was a caregiver. For the elderly, children. I know how to clean, organize, basic admin stuff." Michael nodded. "Are you from here? From the city?" "I am. Born here. My mother worked her whole life as a housekeeper. She was the one who raised me alone too. And she passed away a year ago. Since then, it's been harder." Michael took a sip of water. "Do you have a place to live?" "I do. A small apartment. It's paid until the end of the month. And after that?" Natalie didn't answer. She didn't know what to say, because she herself didn't know what would come next. Michael took a card from his pocket and placed it on the table. "I have a company. I need someone trustworthy to organize files, keep the administrative department in order. It's nothing glamorous, but it's honest work. If you want to change your life, come find me." Natalie picked up the card with trembling hands. It was simple, elegant. His name was printed in discreet letters, Michael Harrison, CEO. She widened her eyes. You're the owner." "I am." "But why would you do this? You don't even know me." Michael looked her in the eyes. "I saw enough today. I saw a mother willing to wash dishes to feed her daughter. I saw someone who didn't ask for a handout, but for work. That tells me more about you than a resume ever could." Natalie felt the tears return, but this time she couldn't hold them back. "I'm sorry. It's been so long since anyone—" She stopped, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. Michael waited. He didn't rush her, didn't make it awkward. Emma, finishing the last piece of pasta, tugged on Michael's sleeve. "Thank you for the food, mister." Michael smiled. It was a small but genuine smile. "You're welcome, Emma. Did you like it?" "I liked it a lot." "I'm glad." Natalie finally managed to speak. "I accept. If it's real work, I accept." "It's real work. Show up tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Ask for me at the reception." Michael paid the bill without fuss. When they stood up to leave, and he turned to Natalie one last time. "Tomorrow at 9. Don't be late." "I won't. I promise." Natalie and Emma left the restaurant with full stomachs and lighter hearts. Outside it was already night. The city lights shone around them, but for the first time in a long time, Natalie felt that maybe there was a light at the end of the tunnel. Emma held her hand and asked, "Mommy, are we going to see Mr. Michael again?" Natalie looked at the card in her hand, then looked at her daughter. "We are, sweetie. We're going tomorrow." Emma smiled. And that night, they both slept in peace, because sometimes all it takes is one person to truly see you for everything to start to change. Natalie woke up before the sun rose. She hadn't been able to sleep well all night. Every hour she looked at the card on the nightstand, just to make sure she hadn't dreamed it. Emma was still sleeping. Natalie got up and went to the bathroom, washed her face with cold water and combed her hair, pulled it back in a simple but tidy bun. She put on the same jeans from yesterday and a white shirt she had washed in the sink the night before. Emma woke up with the noise. "Mommy, good morning, my love. Get up, we need to leave early today." "Are we going to see Mr. Michael?" "We are, he gave me a job." Emma smiled and jumped out of bed. Natalie helped her get dressed in the light blue dress, making 2 small braids in her blonde hair. Before leaving, Natalie grabbed the card and read the address. It was on the other side of the city. She checked her wallet. She had enough money for the bus fare. Just enough. They left the house at 8 in the morning. Emma held her mother's hand tightly as they walked to the bus stop. "Mommy, are you going to work every day now?" "I am, sweetie, if everything works out." "And where will I stay?" Natalie stopped. That was the question that had been tormenting her since yesterday. "We're going to talk to Mr. Michael about that, okay?" They took 2 buses. When they got off, Natalie looked around. The neighborhood was completely different from hers. Tall buildings, clean streets, people in suits walking quickly. Emma pointed to a tall, mirrored glass building. In front, large silver letters, Harrison Enterprises. "Is that it, Mommy?" Natalie took a deep breath. "That's it." They entered the immense lobby. Shiny marble floor, high ceiling, everything clean and organized. Natalie approached the reception desk with Emma by her side. "Good morning. I have a meeting with Mr. Michael Harrison. My name is Natalie." The receptionist looked at her computer screen. "I don't see any appointment under the name Natalie." Natalie's heart sank. "He gave me his card yesterday. He asked me to come at 9 o'clock. The receptionist picked up the phone and dialed. She spoke softly. The silence seemed to last an eternity. Finally, she hung up. "He's coming down now. You can wait over there." Natalie and Emma sat on the leather sofas. It didn't take long. The elevator opened and Michael stepped out. He was wearing a navy blue suit, a discreet tie. When he saw Natalie and Emma, his face softened. "Natalie, Emma, good morning." He shook Natalie's hand and crouched down to Emma's level. "Good morning, Mr. Michael." "Good morning. Do you like the building? It's so big." "It is. Let's go up." "I want to show you where you'll be working, Natalie." They got in the elevator. Michael pressed the button for the 5th floor. Emma was fascinated watching the numbers climb. When the doors opened, Michael led them to a large room. There were desks, computers, cabinets full of folders and boxes. "This is the records department. We keep all the company's documentation here. Contracts, reports, records, everything needs to be organized." Natalie looked around. There were many boxes stacked up, papers out of order. "It's a bit of a mess," Michael admitted. "The person who took care of this left 2 months ago." He turned to Natalie. "Tell me, what have you worked with?" Natalie took a deep breath. "I worked for 3 years at a laundromat. I organized the clothes by customer, by type, by delivery date. Everything had to be very organized." Michael nodded. "Before that, I took care of an elderly woman for 2 years. I did her shopping, cleaning, organized her medications. She had diabetes, and so I managed her diet too. And before that, office cleaning. I cleaned 3 commercial buildings at night." Michael watched her attentively. "Do you know how to use a computer?" "The basics. I can type. Use simple spreadsheets. We can train you on what you don't know. The important thing is to have someone trustworthy." He pointed to the room. We have a records department that needs someone trustworthy. Want to try? Natalie looked at the room, looked at Emma, looked at Michael. If it's honest work, I can handle it. Michael extended his hand. It's honest work, and I believe you can handle it. Natalie shook his hand, firmly. When do I start? Tomorrow, if you can. 8 in the morning. Natalie hesitated. I don't have anywhere to leave Emma yet. I'm going to look for a solution, but it might take a few days. Michael interrupted her. She can stay here. What? There's a small room next door that we don't use. She can stay there while you work. We can put in a small table, some things for her to draw. Nothing elaborate, but it works. Natalie was speechless. You would do that? I'm already doing it. I'll ask someone to set up the room today. Emma tugged on her mother's shirt. Mommy, I can be quiet, I promise. Natalie stroked her daughter's hair. I know you can, sweetie. She looked at Michael. I don't know how to thank you. Work well. That's the best way to thank me. Michael checked his watch. I have a meeting in 10 minutes. But tomorrow at 8, you come back here. The reception will be notified. Someone will explain everything to you. Okay. Oh, and about payment. It's weekly. You get paid at the end of every week. We'll talk more about the amount tomorrow, but it will be fair. Natalie nodded. Michael started walking toward the door, but stopped and turned around. Natalie? Yes. Welcome. She smiled, a tired but genuine smile. Thank you. Michael left. Natalie stood there for a moment, looking at the room. This place would be hers. She would have a job. She would have money. She could feed Emma, pay the rent, start over. Emma pulled her hand. Mommy, are you crying? Natalie touched her face. It was wet. I am. But it's okay. These are happy tears. Happy tears exist. They do, sweetie. When we're really happy. Emma hugged her mother's leg. Then I want to cry happy tears too. Natalie laughed and picked her daughter up. Let's go home. Let's. They went down in the elevator, past the reception, went through the revolving doors, and when they got out on the street, the sun was higher, the day brighter. Natalie held Emma's hand tightly. Tomorrow, everything would start over. For real. Natalie arrived 15 minutes early. She didn't want to risk being late on her first day. Emma came alongside, holding her hand tightly, her light eyes wide, taking everything in. At reception, one of the women was already waiting. Natalie? Yes. You can go up. 5th floor. Mr. Harrison has everything ready. They got in the elevator. Emma was quiet, but Natalie could feel her little hand sweating. The girl was nervous too. It's going to be okay, sweetie, you'll see. When the doors opened, a woman in her 50s was waiting for them. She had grey hair pulled back in a bun and a gentle smile. Natalie, I'm Clara. I work in human resources. I came to show you everything. A pleasure. Clara crouched down to Emma's level. And you must be Emma. Emma nodded shyly. Come with me. I prepared a surprise for you. They followed Clara down the hall. First, she opened the door to the records room. This is where you'll work. I'll explain everything later. But first, come see this. She opened another door right next to it. It was a small room with a window overlooking the street. In the center, a low table with 2 small chairs. On the table, colored pencils, paper, some coloring books, and a box of crayons. Emma's eyes went wide. Is this for me? Clara smiled. It is. You'll stay here while your mum works. You can draw, color, whatever you want. Emma looked at Natalie, asking for permission. You can go, sweetie. The girl ran to the table and sat down. She picked up a blue pencil and started to draw on the paper. Clara touched Natalie's shoulder. She'll be fine. The door stays open. You can see her from the records room. Natalie felt enormous relief. Thank you. Come, I'll show you what you'll be doing. They entered the records room. Clara explained the filing system. Folders by year, then by department band, then by document type. Contracts in one section, reports in another, financial records in another. It's all a bit of a mess because no one has taken care of it properly for a while, but there's no rush. Just do it little by little. Clara showed her how to use the computer to register where each document was filed. It was a simple but organized system. Any questions, just call me. My office is on the 6th floor. Okay. Clara left. Natalie was alone in the room. She looked around, took a deep breath. It was her first day of work in months, and she wasn't going to waste it. She started with the boxes stacked in the corner, opened the first one. Documents from 2023, but all mixed up. Contracts with reports, all out of order. She separated everything, created piles, started filing them one by one. Every so often, she'd look through the door. Emma was concentrating on her drawing. The girl stuck her tongue out when she concentrated, the same way Natalie did. Time passed quickly. Natalie worked non-stop. She organized 3 whole boxes, registered everything in the system, labeled the folders. At 10 in the morning, Clara appeared with 2 glasses of juice and some cookies. Brought a snack for you two. You didn't have to. Of course I did. You're working. You need energy. Clara handed a glass and the cookies to Emma, who thanked her quietly. Natalie drank the juice slowly. She was so focused on work she hadn't even realized she was thirsty. How's it going? Good. It's a lot of stuff, but it's making sense. Great. If you need anything, call me. Clara left again. Natalie went back to work. What she didn't know was that Michael passed by the hallway every so often. He didn't come in, didn't interrupt. He just watched from a distance. He saw Natalie working attentively, sorting document by document. He saw Emma drawing, quietly, not bothering anyone. Once Emma got up from her little chair and went to her mum. "Mommy, I made a drawing." Natalie stopped what she was doing and looked. It was a drawing of 2 people holding hands, one tall, one small. Both had yellow hair. "Is that us?" "Yes." "Us? It's beautiful, sweetie." Emma smiled and went back to her little room. Michael watched everything from the hallway door. Something about that scene touched him. Natalie's dedication, Emma's patience, the way they managed, together, even with so little. He continued walking without making a sound. At noon, Clara appeared again. Lunchtime. "There's a cafeteria on the 2nd floor. You can eat there." "How much does it cost?" "Nothing. It's free for employees." Natalie blinked, surprised. "Free?" "Yes. Come, I'll show you." They went down to the 2nd floor. The cafeteria was large, clean, with several tables. There was a buffet with hot food, rice, beans, chicken, salad, vegetables. Emma looked at everything, amazed. "Mommy, there's so much food." Natalie felt a lump in her throat. It had been a long time since Emma had seen such abundance. They got their plates and served themselves. They sat at a table in the corner. Emma ate slowly, savoring every bite. "It's good, Mommy." "Is it?" "It's really good," Natalie smiled. Seeing her daughter eating well every day was already worth everything. After lunch, they went back to the 5th floor. Natalie continued her work. Emma went back to her drawings. The afternoon passed quickly. At 5 in the afternoon, Natalie had already organized 6 boxes, registered everything, arranged the shelves, wiped the dust off some old folders. She was putting away the last pile when she heard a knock on the door. It was Michael. "Hi." "Hi," Natalie replied, a little surprised. He entered the room and looked around. "How was the first day?" "It was good. I managed to organize a lot." Michael nodded. "I see you work fast." Natalie blushed slightly. He had been watching. Emma appeared at the door of her little room. "Mr. Michael." "Hi, Emma. What did you do today?" "I drew. Want to see?" "I do." Emma ran and came back with a pile of drawings. She showed them one by one. Houses, flowers, the building, the sun. Michael looked at each one attentively. "You draw very well." Thank you. Michael looked at Natalie. Were you two about to leave? My shift just ended. How about grabbing a coffee first? There's a coffee shop nearby. Nothing fancy, but the coffee is good. Natalie hesitated. You don't have to. I know I don't, but I want to. Will you join me? Natalie looked at Emma. The girl smiled excitedly. Okay. They left the building together. The coffee shop was a block away. It was small, simple, with wooden tables and a counter with cakes and pastries. Michael ordered 2 coffees, a hot chocolate for Emma, and 3 slices of chocolate cake. They sat at a table near the window. Emma attacked the cake immediately. Is it good? So good. Michael smiled. Then he looked at Natalie. So? Did you find the work too difficult? No, it's organized. It was just messy, but it's manageable. You're fast. I thought it would take at least 2 weeks to organize those boxes. You did half in 1 day. Natalie shrugged. I like to work, and I need to work. Michael took a sip of coffee. I know, but still, you did a good job today. Natalie felt something warm inside her chest. It had been a long time since someone had acknowledged what she did. Thank you. They stayed there for almost an hour. They talked about simple things. Emma talked about her drawings. Michael asked if they lived far. Natalie said yes, but that she didn't mind. The job is worth it. When they finished, Michael paid the bill. They walked out to the street together. The sun was lower now, the air cooler. Are you taking the bus? Yes. Let me call a car for you. You don't need to. Natalie, Michael interrupted her gently. Accept it. She sighed. Okay. Michael called a car using his app. When it arrived, he opened the door for Emma to get in. See you tomorrow, Mr. Michael. See you tomorrow, Emma. Natalie got in after. Before closing the door, she looked at Michael. Thank you for everything. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. Michael smiled slightly. Then you're welcome. Get some rest. More tomorrow. The car pulled away. Natalie looked out the window and saw Michael still standing on the sidewalk, waving. Emma rested her head on her mother's shoulder. I like Mr. Michael. Me too, sweetie. He's nice. He is. That night, when they got home, Natalie felt different. Tired, but in a good way, as if she were finally in the right place. Emma fell asleep quickly, hugging one of the drawings she had made. And Natalie, for the first time in a long time, slept in peace, because the safe space she needed so badly was beginning to form. The second day started like the first. Natalie and Emma arrived early, took the elevator to the 5th floor. But when they opened the door to the small room, Emma stopped in her tracks. Mommy, her voice came out in a surprised whisper. The simple little table from yesterday had changed. Now there was a clear organizer box full of supplies, new colored pencils, crayons, colored markers, drawing pads, stickers, safety scissors, colored glue. Everything tidy, separated by type. Next to the box, a folded white note. Emma looked at her mother, asking for silent permission. Natalie nodded. The girl ran to the table and picked up the note with both hands. She still couldn't read well, so she handed it to Natalie. What does it say, Mommy? Natalie unfolded the paper. The handwriting was firm, masculine, clear. For you to create while you wait. Michael. Natalie read it aloud. She felt something tighten in her chest. Not a bad tightness. It was different. Emma looked at the box with shining eyes. Can I use it? You can, sweetie. It's yours. The girl sat in the little chair and began to explore the supplies. She picked up each pencil, looked at the color, put it back. She opened the new notebook, ran her hand over the blank page. She smiled. Look, Mommy, it even has star stickers. Natalie watched it all. It had been a long time since she'd seen Emma so excited about something. The girl was already choosing colors to start a new drawing. I'm going to draw the building again. But with more colors now? Natalie smiled, but felt her eyes sting. She had to take a deep breath to keep the tears from falling right there. "Mommy's going to work, okay? Call me if you need anything." "Okay." Emma was already focused. Natalie went to the records room and started to work. But her mind was divided. This wasn't charity. Charity was throwing money and forgetting. It was giving without looking at who was receiving. It was cold, distant, impersonal. Michael had paid attention. He had seen Emma drawing with the old pencils. He had noticed the girl liked to create, and he had done something about it. It was real attention, and that touched Natalie in a way she didn't expect. The morning passed quickly. Natalie organized 4 more boxes, registered everything in the system. Every so often she looked through the door. Emma was happy, drawing, sticking stickers, trying out the new markers. Around 10 o'clock, Clara appeared with the usual snack. But this time she wasn't alone. Michael was behind her, a folder under his arm. "Good morning?" Natalie looked up. "Good morning?" He entered the room and looked around. "You're making good progress." "I'm trying." Michael pointed to the little room next door. "Did Emma like the supplies?" Natalie put the folder she was holding on the desk and turned to him. "She loved them. A lot. She hasn't stopped talking about it since she arrived." Michael gave a half smile. "Good. But you didn't have to do that." "I know." "Then why did you?" Michael hesitated. He seemed to be choosing his words. "Because she was drawing with 3 old pencils, and I'm in a position to give her more than that. Simple." It wasn't simple. Natalie knew, but she didn't argue. "Thank you. You're welcome." Michael was about to leave, but Emma appeared at the door. "Mr. Michael." He turned. "Hi, Emma. Look what I made." She ran to him and showed him the drawing. It was the company building, with colorful windows, blue clouds, a huge yellow sun in the corner. And in front of the building, 3 small people. 1 tall with brown hair, 1 medium and 1 small, both blonde. "Who are these people?" Michael asked. "It's you, my mom, and me." Michael took the drawing carefully, as if it were precious. "Can I keep this?" Emma's eyes went wide. "You can? Of course, I'll put it in my office." "Really? Really?" Emma jumped excitedly. "Then I'll make more drawings for you." Michael smiled. It was a small but genuine smile. "I'd love that." Emma ran back to her little room. Michael stood there holding the drawing for a few more seconds. "She included you in the drawing," Natalie said softly. Michael looked at her. "I saw. That means you're important to her." "And is that good?" Natalie smiled slightly. "It is." Michael nodded. He seemed to be processing that. Then he carefully folded the drawing and put it inside the folder he was carrying. "I'll let you 2 get back to work." "Okay." He left. Natalie stood there for a moment, looking at the empty doorway. Something was changing there. Something she couldn't quite name yet. Later, at lunchtime, Natalie and Emma went down to the cafeteria. While they ate, Emma didn't stop talking. "Mommy, Mr. Michael said he's going to put my drawing in his office." "I heard." "He's nice, isn't he?" "He is. Does he like me?" The question caught Natalie by surprise. "Why are you asking that?" "Because he gave me the pencils. And he wants my drawing." Natalie put down her fork. "I think so, sweetie. I think he likes you. And do you think he likes you too?" Natalie blinked. I don't know." "Why?" "Because he looks at you the way you look at me." Natalie was left without an answer. Emma was a child, but she saw things adults pretended not to see. "Eat, sweetie. It's getting cold." Emma went back to eating, but Natalie kept thinking, did Michael look at her in a special way she hadn't noticed or hadn't wanted to notice? In the afternoon, Natalie worked even more focused. She wanted to show she deserved to be there, that she deserved the trust Michael was placing in her. At 5 o'clock, as she was putting away the last folders, Michael appeared again. "Leaving already?" "Yes, shift's over." He entered the room and leaned against the desk. I wanted to tell you something. Natalie stopped what she was doing. Okay, you don't need to feel awkward about the things I do for Emma or for you. Natalie opened her mouth, but he continued. It's not pity, it's not charity, it's recognition. Recognition of someone who's doing the best she can and who deserves a little support. Natalie felt her eyes sting again. I just don't want you to think I'm taking advantage. I don't think that. How do you know? Because I see how you work. I see how you take care of your daughter. And I see how you fight to maintain your dignity even when it's hard. He paused. That's not taking advantage, that's surviving, and you're doing an incredible job. Natalie couldn't hold it back. A tear ran down. Sorry. You don't need to be sorry. She quickly wiped her face. It's been a long time since anyone saw that. Since anyone looked and really saw. Michael nodded. I see. Emma appeared at the door with another drawing in her hand. Mr. Michael, I made another one. The moment broke. Michael turned to Emma and smiled. Another one. You don't stop. It's for you too. Thank you. He took the drawing. This time it was a house with flowers in front. One day I want to live in a house like that, Emma said. Michael looked at Natalie, then at Emma. Maybe one day you will. That night, on the bus back home, Emma slept in Natalie's lap. The girl held one of the new pencils in her hand, even while sleeping. Natalie looked out the window. The city passed by quickly, but for the first time, she didn't feel rushed. She didn't feel scared. She felt that someone was taking care of them, gently, with attention, and that made all the difference. The third week started differently. Michael started to show up more. Not every day, but several times during the week. Sometimes in the middle of the morning, sometimes at the end of the afternoon. He never stayed long, but he always stayed. He would ask how the work was going. Natalie would show him the progress. The files were almost all organized now. The system was working perfectly. She was fast and careful. You have a knack for this, Michael said one afternoon, looking at the labeled shelves. It's just organization, nothing special. It's more than that. You think about the system. You make everything logical. Natalie shrugged but smiled inwardly. Michael also started talking with Emma. At first, they were short dialogues. He'd ask about the drawings. Emma would show them excitedly, but little by little, the conversations got longer. Mr. Michael, do you have kids? The question came late one afternoon. Emma was sitting at her little table, coloring. Michael had come in to talk to Natalie and ended up staying. Why? It just never happened. Did you want to? Michael hesitated. I never thought much about it. I think you'd be a nice dad. Natalie, who was filing papers in the next room, stopped moving. She heard everything. Michael was silent for a few seconds. Thank you, Emma. That's very kind of you. Emma went back to coloring as if she hadn't said anything profound, but Michael stood there for longer than usual. The days went by. Michael started bringing coffee for Natalie. Nothing elaborate. Just a simple coffee from the corner shop. He'd bring 2. They'd sit at an empty table in the conference room next door and talk for 15-20 minutes. At first, they talked about work, then about other things. Have you always lived here? Michael asked during one of those coffee breaks. Always. Born in this city. Never left. Did you want to leave? Natalie thought. Before, yes. When I was younger, I dreamed of traveling, seeing places, but life happened and it got different. And now I just want Emma to have a better life than mine. Michael took a sip of his coffee. Do you think your life is bad? It's not about being bad, it's about being hard, and I don't want it to be so hard for her. Michael nodded. Do I understand? They were silent for a few seconds. It wasn't an uncomfortable silence. It was peaceful. What about you? Natalie asked. Have you always lived here too? No. I was born in another city, came here when I started the company, about 10 years ago. Is your family from there? My parents have passed away. I'm sorry. It was a while ago. My father died when I was 20. My mother, 5 years later. Natalie looked at him with more attention. You were left alone early. I was. Was it hard? It was, but I had work. That helped me keep going. Natalie understood. Work was also what was keeping her going now. Another afternoon, Michael brought chocolates for Emma. She was beaming. Can I eat them, Mummy? You can, but only 2 now. Save the rest. Emma ate the chocolates slowly, savoring them. Michael watched with a discreet smile. You're very polite, he said to Emma. My mom taught me. She teaches well. Emma nodded seriously. She's the best mom in the world. Natalie is in the next room, felt her chest tighten again in a good way. Another week passed. Michael kept showing up, always with a coffee, always with a few minutes to talk. On a rainy afternoon, he brought coffee and sat with Natalie in the empty room. Outside, the rain beat against the windows. I never asked you, Michael began. Emma's father, is he around? Natalie tensed. She knew this question would come eventually. No. Did he leave? He did, when he found out I was pregnant, said he wasn't ready to be a father. Never saw him again. Michael frowned. He never came back, not even to meet her. Never. That must have been hard. It was. But my mom helped me. She stayed with me through the whole pregnancy, stayed after Emma was born, helped me with everything. Natalie paused, took a deep breath. My mum helped me with everything. When she left, the world got colder. Her voice cracked at the end. Michael didn't say anything. He just sat there, listening. She worked as a housekeeper, Natalie continued, her whole life, cleaning other people's houses. But she always came home and took care of me. Later, she took care of Emma. She was everything. How long has it been? A year and 4 months. And you've handled everything alone since then? Yes, I lost my job shortly after. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't keep going. It took months before I started trying again. Michael remained silent. He didn't fill the space with empty words. He didn't say, it will be okay, or you're strong. He just sat there, present. Natalie wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Sorry, I didn't mean to vent like that. You don't need to be sorry, I asked. It's been a long time since I talked about her, about how it was, about how it still is. Does it still hurt? Every day. Michael nodded. My mother was strong too, worked a lot, took care of everything alone after my father died. I remember feeling like she carried the world on her shoulders. And she really did. Do you miss her? Always? They stayed there for a while longer. The rain continued outside. The coffee got cold, but neither of them moved. Thank you, Natalie said softly. For what? For staying, for listening, for not judging. I wouldn't judge. You're doing the best you can. Sometimes it feels like it's not enough. It is enough. Emma is proof of that. Natalie looked at him. You think so? I do. She's polite, kind, creative. That doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from you. Natalie felt the tears returning but held them back. I just want her to have chances. For her to not have to go through what I went through. She will. You're making sure of that. Natalie didn't answer, but she believed him. In the following days, Michael continued to show up. They didn't talk about heavy subjects anymore. They went back to simple conversations. About work, about the weather, about Emma's drawings. But something had changed. There was a greater trust now. A closeness that wasn't there before. Michael didn't make promises. He didn't say he would fix everything. He didn't guarantee a better future. He just stayed. And sometimes that was exactly what Natalie needed. Not someone to fix things, but someone to stay. One afternoon, Emma ran to Michael with a new drawing. Look, I drew you again. In the drawing, Michael was smiling. Next to him, Natalie and Emma were smiling too. We're happy here, Emma said. Michael looked at the drawing, then at Emma, then at Natalie. You really are. And in that moment, Natalie realized it was true. They were happy. Not completely, not perfectly, but they were. Because for the first time in a long time, they weren't alone. Michael hadn't made any grand declarations. He hadn't promised eternity. He hadn't changed the world. He had just stayed. And that was more than enough. It was a Friday when Michael showed up late in the afternoon. Natalie was finishing registering the last documents of the week. Emma was drawing as always, her tongue stuck out in concentration. Good work this week, Michael said, entering the room. Thanks. I managed to finish the entire 2023 contract section. I saw. It's flawless. Emma got up from her little chair and ran to him. Mr. Michael, look, I made a new drawing. It was a drawing of a castle with tall towers. How beautiful. Is it a castle? It is. It has really tall towers. You can see everything from up there. Michael looked at the drawing for a longer moment. Emma, do you want to see a really high view for real? The girl's eyes went wide. Where? Upstairs, on the top floor. My office is there. The view is similar to your castle's. Emma looked at Natalie, asking for permission. You can go, sweetie, but behave. I'll behave. Michael held out his hand to Emma. She took it without hesitation. Want to come with us? He asked Natalie. I'm going to finish saving this in the system. You two go. I'll wait. Michael nodded. He left with Emma holding his hand. Natalie watched the two walk down the hall. Something about that image made her feel at ease. Michael was careful with Emma. She trusted him. In the elevator, Emma didn't stop talking. How many floors are there? 15. 15? That's a lot. It is. My office is on the top one. Do you work alone up there? I have a secretary. But the office is just mine. It must be nice to have your own office, Michael smiled. It's quiet. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. Emma ran out but stopped immediately, looking all around. The floor was different, quieter. The hallway had a soft carpet. The walls were dark wood. There were only 3 doors. It's quiet here, Emma said softly. It is. Fewer people work on this floor. Michael led her to the last door, opened it. The office was large, a dark wood desk in the center, bookshelves on the sides, leather sofas near the wall. But what caught the eye was the glass wall on the other side. Emma let go of Michael's hand and ran to the window. Wow. From up there, the entire city stretched out. Buildings, streets, cars small as toys. The sky was turning orange as the sunset began. It's so high, Emma exclaimed, her hands pressed against the glass. It is. From here you can see almost the whole city. Emma stood there, looking. Michael approached and stood beside her. Look, Mr. Michael. You can even see that park far away. You sure can. Emma turned to him, curious. What do you do here? Michael crouched down to her level. What do you mean? Here in this office, what do you do? I make decisions. I help the people here do the best they can. Emma thought for a second. Like my mommy, Michael smiled. Exactly. So you help everyone. I try. I don't always succeed, but I try. Emma went back to looking out the window. It's cool to see things from up here. Everything looks small. Michael looked at her. Then he looked out the window too. It really does. When things are small, they seem less scary. Michael blinked. The simplicity of that sentence hit him in an unexpected way. You're right, Emma pointed down. Look at that street. That's where we walk to go home, right? It is. And is that building over there a school? It is. Am I going to school one day? You will. Your mom will put you in a school. Do you think I'll like it? I think so. You'll learn to read, write, do math. You'll make friends. Emma smiled. I wish I had friends. You don't. No. I only have Mommy, and now I have you. Michael felt something tighten in his chest. You consider me your friend? I do. You're nice. You take care of us. Michael didn't answer immediately. He just looked at the girl with her blonde hair and light eyes full of innocence. "Thank you, Emma." "For what?" "For considering me your friend." "But you are." She said it like it was obvious, like there was no doubt. And maybe there wasn't. Emma went back to exploring the office. She looked at the books on the shelves, ran her hand over the big desk. "There's a lot of stuff here." "There is. Sometimes it's tiring. Do you get tired?" "I do. My mum gets tired too, but she doesn't complain. She's strong." "She is. She's the strongest person I know." Michael nodded. "I agree." Emma went to the sofa and sat down. She swung her legs that didn't reach the floor. "Can I come here again?" "You can." "Whenever you want." "Promise." "I promise." Emma smiled, satisfied. She got up and went to the window again. "One day I want to work in a high place like this." "You do?" "I do. So I can see everything and help people too, like you." Michael felt his eyes sting. He didn't expect that. Didn't expect to be touched that way by a 4-year-old child. "You'll make it, Emma." "How do you know?" "Because you're smart and kind, and you see things in a special way." "Special how?" "You see things clearly, without complicating them." Emma didn't completely understand, but she smiled anyway. They stayed there for a few more minutes. Emma kept looking out the window, pointing things out. Michael answered, but he was more thoughtful than usual. There was something about this child that disarmed him. She didn't ask for anything, didn't expect anything. She was just there, genuine, pure, true. And somehow, she was teaching him to see the world differently, from up high, yes, but also with simplicity, with lightness. "Mr. Michael." "Yes? Are you happy?" The question caught him by surprise. I think so." "You only think," Michael thought. "I was less happy before. Now I'm happier." "Why?" He looked at her. "I think because of you two. You and your mum." Emma smiled wide. "I'm happier now too. Since we met you." Michael felt something break and mend at the same time inside him, as if something that had been closed had finally opened. "Emma, you need to promise me something." "What?" "Never lose this way of seeing things. This way of looking at the world. It's special." "Okay, I promise." "Thank you." Emma took his hand. "Let's go back to Mommy. She must be waiting. Let's..." They left the office. In the elevator, Emma didn't stop talking about the view, about how everything looked small, about how she wanted to go back. Michael listened to it all, and for the first time in a long time, he felt complete. Not because he had success, not because he had money, but because someone, a small child with light eyes, saw him as someone important. And maybe, in the end, that was exactly what he needed. When they got back to the 5th floor, Natalie was waiting. "So, did you like it?" Emma jumped excitedly. "I liked it so much. You can see everything from up there, Mommy, the whole city." Natalie smiled. "That's great, sweetie." Emma went to her little room to get her drawings. Michael stayed with Natalie. "Thanks for letting her go up." "Thanks for taking her." Michael looked at Natalie. "She's special." "I know." "No. You don't understand. She really is. She sees things in a way adults have forgotten how to see." Natalie tilted her head. What did she say?" "That things seem less scary when you see them from far away." Natalie smiled slightly. "She always says things like that, ever since she was little. You taught her well, or she was born that way." "Maybe both." Emma came back with her backpack. "Can we go, Mommy?" "We can." The three of them left together. And that night, Michael kept thinking about Emma's sentence, about seeing things from up high, about how everything seemed smaller, less scary. Maybe that's what he needed to learn, to see things through the eyes of a child. Simple, pure, real. Monday started differently. Emma woke up excited, asking to take more paper to the office. "I'm going to make a special drawing today," she said on the bus. "Special how?" Natalie asked. "You'll see." When they arrived, Emma went straight to her little room. She didn't even wait for her mom to put her things away. She grabbed the colored pencils, chose a large piece of paper from the new notebook and began. Natalie watched from a distance while she organized documents. Emma was concentrated in a different way, tongue out, eyes fixed on the paper. Every so often she would stop, look at what she had done, and continue. It took all morning. At lunch, Emma ate quickly. "Don't you want to eat more?" Natalie asked. "I want to finish the drawing." "Is it pretty?" "It's getting there." They went back up to the 5th floor. Emma returned to her little room. Natalie returned to work. The afternoon passed. Emma didn't leave the room even to show her progress, which was strange. Normally she'd go to her mom every half hour to show her something, but not today. Today she was focused. Around 4 o'clock, Michael appeared. He entered the records room with a folder in his hand. Hi, Natalie replied, looking up from the computer screen. "I need you to find a contract from 2022, supplier named Silverman Imports." "Let me look." Natalie went to the 2022 section, looked for the letter S, found it in less than 2 minutes. "Here," Michael took the folder. "You're fast. The system works." "You made it work." Natalie gave a half smile. She was getting less uncomfortable with his compliments. Michael was about to leave when Emma appeared at the door. She was holding a paper against her chest, hiding it. "Mr. Michael!" He turned. "Hi, Emma." "Wait. Don't go yet." "I won't." "Is everything okay?" Emma took a deep breath. She was nervous. Natalie noticed. Michael, too. "I made something for you." "You did?" "I did. All day. Since this morning." She held out the paper with both hands, but still facing her, not showing it. "It might not be perfect, but I tried to make it pretty. I'm sure it's beautiful." Emma turned the paper around. Michael stopped breathing for a second. In the center of the drawing, a big building, colorful windows, well drawn for a 4-year-old. At the top of the building, the name Harrison, written in crooked but legible letters. Next to the building, a huge sun. But it wasn't a normal sun. It had eyes, a mouth. It was smiling. At the bottom, a cup of coffee. Steam rising, made with light scribbles. And at the top of the paper, written in big, colorful, somewhat crooked letters, "You are very nice." Michael held the drawing. He didn't say anything. He just looked. Emma started to get nervous. "Do you like it?" Michael didn't answer immediately. Natalie watched from the next room. She saw his expression change. Saw something break in that always serious, always controlled face. "Mr. Michael?" Emma asked again, worried. He crouched down to her level. He held the drawing carefully, as if it were made of glass. "It's the most beautiful gift I've ever received." His voice came out different, quieter, more loaded. Emma smiled, relieved. Really? I wanted to make it special because you're nice to us. You help Mommy, you play with me, you give us coffee." Michael nodded, still holding the drawing. "Is that why there's coffee in the drawing?" "Yes, and the smiling sun is because you make us smile." Michael closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them, they were red. Emma noticed. "Are you sad?" "No, I'm happy." "But it looks like you're going to cry." "Sometimes we cry when we're happy too. Like Mommy's happy tears." "Exactly." Emma hugged him. It was a spontaneous hug, without thinking. She just threw her little arms around his neck and squeezed. Michael froze for a second, then, slowly, he hugged her back. One hand on her back, the other still holding the drawing. Natalie watched everything from the door. She felt her own eyes sting, but she didn't interfere, didn't say anything. Just watched, because that moment didn't need words. Emma pulled away. "Are you going to put it in your office?" "I am, in the most important spot." "Where?" "On the wall behind my desk." so I can see it whenever I'm working." Emma jumped excitedly. "Really? I promise." She ran back to her little room. Michael stayed there, still crouched, holding the drawing. He stood up slowly, looked at Natalie. She was leaning against the door frame, arms crossed, a small smile on her face. "She worked on that all day," Natalie said. "I can tell. She wanted it to be perfect." Michael looked at the drawing again. It is." He ran a hand over his face, wiping his eyes. "Sorry, I don't usually get emotional like this. You don't need to be sorry." Michael carefully folded the drawing and put it inside the folder he was carrying. "No one has ever done anything like this for me. No one. No one. I get reports, proposals, presentations, but this is different." Natalie moved closer. "She sees you in a pure way, with no agenda, no ulterior motives, just affection. I know, and that's terrifying. Why? Because I don't know if I deserve it." Natalie put her hand on his arm. "You deserve it." Michael looked at her. "How do you know?" "Because I see it too. I see how you treat her, how you treat us. You don't do it because you expect something in return. You do it because you care." Michael didn't answer, but he nodded. They stood there in silence for a few seconds. Natalie took her hand off his arm and went back to the records room. Michael stayed a bit longer, looked into the little room where Emma was drawing again, already starting another project. Something was changing inside him, something he couldn't name yet, but he felt it. He had always had everything: money, success, respect. But he never had this. Never had someone do something for him expecting nothing in return, without interest, without calculation. And now, a 4-year-old child, with crooked letters and simple drawings, had given him the most valuable gift: true affection. That night, Michael went straight to his office on the top floor. He took the drawing from the folder and looked at it again. The building, the smiling sun, the cup of coffee, and the words, "You are very nice." He called someone from maintenance, asked for a simple but good frame. When it arrived, he put the drawing inside and hung it on the wall behind his desk, right in the center, in the most visible spot. He sat in his chair and looked. That was the most beautiful gift he had ever received, and it didn't come from a partner, a client, a business associate. It came from a child who saw him for who he was, not for what he had. And for the first time in a long time, Michael felt seen, truly seen. Friday, end of another week. Natalie was putting away the last documents when Michael appeared at the door. "Finished?" "Finished. This week was productive." "It was. You organized 2 entire years of contracts." Natalie smiled. "There's still a lot, but it's progressing." Emma appeared running from her little room with her backpack on. "Ready, Mommy?" Michael crouched down to her level. "What are you doing this weekend?" "I don't know, we never do much." Natalie felt slightly embarrassed. Weekends for them meant staying home. They didn't have money for outings. "We rest," Natalie said. "Watch something. Emma draws." Michael nodded. They went down together. At the building exit, Michael was about to call a car for them when Natalie stopped him. "Michael." "Yes." "Do. Do you have plans for tomorrow night?" Michael blinked, surprised. "No. Why?" Natalie took a deep breath. She was nervous. "I wanted to invite you for dinner. At my place. Nothing fancy. Just a simple dinner. To thank you for everything you've been doing." Michael was silent for a second. "You don't need to thank me." "I know. But I want to. Will you come?" Michael looked at her, then at Emma, who was smiling excitedly. "I'll come." Natalie sighed in relief. "At 7. 7 is great." She took a piece of paper and wrote down the address. Michael put it in his pocket. "See you tomorrow, then." "See you tomorrow." On Saturday, Natalie woke up early. She had a lot to do. She cleaned the entire apartment, made the bed, swept the floor, cleaned the window. The place was small, but she wanted it to be spotless. Emma helped in her own way, putting away her toys, organizing her colored pencils. "Is Mr. Michael really coming, Mummy?" "He is." "Are you nervous?" Natalie stopped scrubbing the floor. "Why do you think that?" "Because you cleaned the same spot 3 times. Natalie laughed. "Okay, I'm a little nervous." "Why? It's just Mr. Michael." "I know, but it's been a long time since we had anyone over." Emma hugged her mother's leg. "It will be nice. Mr. Michael is nice." Natalie kissed her daughter's head. "You're right." In the afternoon, Natalie went to the grocery store. She used part of her paycheck from the week to buy the ingredients. Nothing too expensive, but good. Chicken, potatoes, vegetables, some gravy. She also bought ingredients to make a simple chocolate cake. Emma was excited. "Can I help make the cake?" "You can." At home, they spent the afternoon cooking together. Emma mixed the ingredients with a big spoon. She put in too much flour, but Natalie didn't mind. It was nice to have her daughter there, helping, smiling. The cake went into the oven. The sweet smell filled the apartment. Emma checked through the oven window every 5 minutes. "It's rising, Mommy." "It is." When the cake was ready, Emma clapped her hands. Natalie prepared the chicken, seasoned it with garlic, salt, pepper, put the potatoes in to roast, sautéed the vegetables, all simple, but made with care. At 6:30, she stopped to get ready, took a shower, put on dark jeans and a light blouse. She left her blonde hair down, which was always tied up. She looked in the mirror. She looked different, lighter. Emma put on her favorite blue dress. "Do I look pretty?" "You look beautiful." At 7 o'clock sharp, there was a knock on the door. Natalie took a deep breath and opened it. Michael was there. He wasn't wearing a suit. He wore jeans and a dark blue shirt, sleeves rolled up. He looked younger this way, less formal. In his hand, he held a bottle of wine and a bouquet of simple flowers. "Hi." "Hi. Come in." Michael entered. The apartment was small, but clean, organized. There was a small table with 3 chairs, an old but tidy sofa, a bookshelf with a few books. Emma ran to him. "Mr. Michael, I helped make the cake." "You did? Then it must be delicious." He handed the flowers to Natalie. "For you." Natalie took them, surprised. "Thank you. They're beautiful." She went to the kitchen, got a glass with water, and put the flowers in it. They looked nice on the small table. "Sit, please. Make yourself comfortable." Michael sat at the table. Emma sat next to him. Natalie brought the plates, the roast chicken, the golden potatoes, the vegetables. "You made all this?" Michael asked. "I did. I hope it's good." They started to eat. Michael tried the chicken. "This is really good." "Really? Really, you're a good cook." Natalie smiled. "My mom taught me." She was a great cook. Emma ate excitedly, telling stories about her week, about her drawings, about everything. Michael listened, asked questions, laughed. The conversation flowed easily. No tension, no formality. After dinner, Natalie served the cake. Emma cheered when she cut the first piece. "Look, Mr. Michael. It's fluffy." "It really is." They ate the cake slowly. Emma licked her chocolate-covered fingers. Michael said it was delicious. Natalie thanked him. When they finished, Emma went to play in the corner of the room with her pencils. Natalie and Michael stayed at the table, talking quietly. That's when Michael looked at the wall behind Natalie. There was a small photo in a simple frame, a middle-aged woman, grey hair, a gentle smile. "Is that your mother?" Natalie turned. "It is." That photo was taken about 2 years before she passed. She looks kind. She was. Very. She cooked for everyone. Any neighbor who needed it, she'd bring food. She taught me everything. Helped me with Emma from the first day. Michael looked at the photo more closely. There was something familiar about that face. She worked as a housekeeper, right? Yes, her whole life. Why? Michael got up and went to the photo, looked closely. What was her name? Margaret. Why? Michael stood still, processing. Margaret, he repeated softly. Then he turned to Natalie. She worked at my parents' house. Natalie blinked. What? Your mother? She worked at my parents' house when I was a kid. Natalie stood up from her chair. Are you sure? I'm sure. Margaret, grey hair, gentle smile. She made cookies. Every Thursday she made cookies. Natalie's eyes went wide. Oh, you're the boy. What boy? She used to talk about a little blonde boy who ate the dough secretly, who stole chocolate chips before the cookies were ready. Michael laughed, a genuine laugh. Me? That was me. I did that every week. Natalie put her hand to her mouth. I don't believe it. She let me. She'd say if I ate the raw dough I'd get sick, but she always left a little bit for me. Natalie sat down again, trying to process. My mom talked about you. She said you were polite, that you asked about her day, that you helped carry the groceries. She was the only person who really talked to me. My parents were always busy, but she always had time. Natalie felt her eyes sting. She liked you. She always said you were a good boy. Michael looked at the photo again. I didn't know she had passed. How long has it been? 1.5 years. I'm so sorry. Thank you. They were silent for a moment, processing the revelation. So we were already connected before we even met, Natalie said. My mother took care of you when you were a child, and now you're taking care of us. Michael looked at her. It's strange to think about. It is. But it's beautiful too. Emma came over, curious. Are you guys talking about Grandma? We are, Natalie said. Mr. Michael knew her when he was little. Emma's eyes went wide. Really? Really? She worked at his parents' house. Emma smiled. Then Grandma already liked Mr. Michael too. Michael crouched down to her level. And I liked her very much. She was very special. I think so too. I miss her. I understand. Emma hugged him quickly and went back to drawing. Michael stood up. Natalie was clearing the plates. He helped, even though she said he didn't have to. They washed the dishes together in comfortable silence. When they finished, Michael dried his hands. I brought something for you. You did. He went to the jacket he had left on the sofa and took an envelope from the pocket. I wanted to give you this today. He handed the envelope to Natalie. She took it, confused. Say, what is it? Open it. Natalie opened it. Inside there were papers. She started to read. Her eyes widened. Enrollment confirmation. Maple Grove School. It was a school. A good school. Emma's enrollment. Michael, what is this? It's Emma's enrollment. In a good school. She starts next week. Natalie looked at him, incredulous. You enrolled her? I did. The school has a bus. It passes nearby. She goes in the morning, comes back in the afternoon. Lunch is included. Supplies too. Natalie sat down, still holding the papers. Michael, I can't accept this. Why not? Because it's too much. It's a lot. Michael crouched in front of her. Natalie, she deserves to dream bigger. She deserves to have the same chances other kids have. You work so hard and you do so much for her. Let me do this. Natalie felt the tears stream down. But it's a private school. It must cost. It doesn't matter what it costs. What matters is that she'll have a good education. She'll have friends. She'll learn. She'll grow. Natalie looked at the papers again. Then at Emma, who was drawing and unaware of anything. She'll go in a clean uniform, Natalie said, her voice trembling, and a lunch packed with love, every day. Michael smiled. I wouldn't expect any less. Natalie stood up and hugged him. It was a tight hug, full of gratitude, of relief, of everything she couldn't put into words. Thank you. Thank you so much. Michael returned the hug. You're welcome. When they separated, Natalie wiped her eyes. Emma, come here, sweetie. The girl came running. What? Mr. Michael has a surprise for you. Emma looked at Michael. You do? I do. You're going to start school next week. Emma's eyes went wide. Real school. Real school, with other kids. With teachers, with books. Emma jumped excitedly. Really? For real? For real? She hugged Michael tightly. Thank you, Mr. Michael. Thank you so much. Michael stroked her blonde hair. You're welcome, Emma. Natalie watched it all. Something had changed that night. Something big. It wasn't just about the school. It was about everything. About the discovery of the past. About how life had strange ways of connecting people. About how her mother, somehow, had planted seeds that were only now blooming. Michael stayed for another hour. They talked about the school, about the routine, about everything Emma would need. He promised to help with whatever was necessary. When he left, it was already past 10. Emma was already asleep on the sofa. At the door, Natalie held his hand. Thank you for everything, for the school, for the attention, for seeing us. Michael squeezed her hand back. Thank you for letting me be part of this, of your lives. You'll always be a part of it now. I hope so. He left. Natalie closed the door and leaned against it for a moment. She looked at her mother's photo on the wall. Thank you, Mom, she whispered, for taking care of him, for planting that. Somehow, you're still taking care of us. That night, Natalie slept with a lighter heart than ever before, because for the first time, she wasn't just surviving, she was rebuilding, and she had someone by her side helping to hold the bricks. 3 months had passed since the dinner. Life had found a rhythm, a good rhythm, a rhythm Natalie hadn't known in a long time. Emma woke up early every day. Natalie prepared breakfast, packed her lunch. The school bus came at 7:30. Emma got on excitedly, waving from the window. Natalie went to work. The records department was completely organized now. Everything catalogued, everything in its right place. Clara had praised her several times, said she was the best person who had ever taken care of that department. Emma got back from school at 3. She brought drawings, stories, new friends. She talked non-stop about her teacher, about what she had learned, about playing at recess. Natalie listened to it all and smiled, because seeing Emma happy was all she ever wanted. But there was something more now, Michael. He had started coming by their house, not every day, but 2-3 times a week, always in the late afternoon or evening. The first time was 2 weeks after the dinner. He knocked on the door at 6 in the evening. Hi, I was passing by and thought I'd stop in. Natalie smiled. Come in. He entered. Emma ran to him. Mr. Michael, look what I learned in school today. She showed him a notebook with letters written in it, some crooked, but legible. You're learning to write. I am. The teacher said I'm doing well. Michael crouched down and looked at the notebook attentively. Voice, this is very good, Emma. That night, he stayed for dinner. Natalie made simple pasta. The 3 ate together, talked about the week. Michael talked about the company. Emma talked about school. Natalie talked about work. It was simple, but it was good. Michael left around 9. At the door, he said, Can I come back another day? You can. Always. And he came back. The following week, he showed up with a storybook for Emma. I thought you might like this. Emma was enchanted. It was a book with large, colorful illustrations about a girl who wanted to be an astronaut. Will you read it to me, Mr. Michael? Of course. They sat on the sofa. Michael read the whole story. Emma paid attention to every word, her eyes glued to the pages. Natalie watched from the kitchen. There was something about that scene that warmed her chest. Michael with Emma, the two on the old sofa, the dim light of the lamp. It seemed natural, as if it had always been this way. Michael started bringing more books, every weekend, a new one. Emma was creating a small library in her corner. When I learn to read by myself, I'm going to read all of them, she'd say. And I'll help you, Michael would reply. One Saturday, Michael showed up with a toolbox. I saw the kitchen faucet is dripping. It is, but you don't have to. I know, but I'm going to fix it anyway. He spent the afternoon fixing small things. The faucet, the cabinet door that wouldn't close properly, the window latch, the flickering kitchen light. Natalie made coffee, brought it to him while he worked. Thank you for doing this. It's just basic maintenance. To me, it's a lot. Michael stopped and looked at her. I like helping. I like being here. I know, but still, thank you. He went back to work. Emma helped in her own way, held the screwdriver, handed him the screws. Michael explained what he was doing. You see, this one tightens, this one loosens. I get it. Want to try? Emma held the screwdriver and tried to tighten the screw. Michael guided her hand. That's it. Just like that. When they finished, Emma was beaming. We fixed everything, Mommy. You did. It looks great. The days went by. Michael kept showing up, always with something. Sometimes it was food, sometimes it was books, sometimes it was just him wanting company. He started to become part of the routine. Emma already expected him. Is Mr. Michael coming today, she would ask. I don't know, sweetie, maybe. And when he showed up, Emma would run to the door. You came. I did. I brought something for you. There was always something. A new pencil, a notebook, a chocolate bar. Small things, but significant. One Sunday, Michael took them both to the park. Emma played on the swings. Michael pushed her. She laughed loudly. Natalie sat on the bench, watching. They looked like a normal family, father, mother, daughter, but they weren't. Not officially. There was no title, no paper signed, but there was something more important. There was presence. Michael was there every day, somehow, even when he wasn't physically there, he was. In a text, in a call, in a thought. Is everything okay at work? He would ask. It is, and with you. Good. Did Emma do well in school today? She did. Got a high grade on her math test. I'm proud, and he was. He felt genuine pride, as if Emma were his. But he never tried to force anything, never tried to take the place of a father. He was just there, supporting. Caring, present. Emma started calling him Mr. Michael naturally. It wasn't planned, it just happened. And Michael accepted it, with a smile. On a Thursday, Natalie was in the kitchen when she heard Emma talking on the neighbor's phone. Hi, Mr. Michael. Are you coming today? I made a new drawing for you. Okay, I'll wait. Emma came running back. Mommy, Mr. Michael is coming later. He is? That's great. I'm going to finish the drawing before he gets here. Natalie smiled. This had become their routine. Emma made drawings for Michael. He took them all. Natalie was advancing at work. Clara offered her more responsibilities. She started training new employees, explaining the system. You have a knack for teaching, Clara said. Thank you. I'm thinking of promoting you supervisor of the records department. What do you think? Natalie was speechless. Would it be a bigger position? It would. More responsibility, but also better pay. One yes. I accept. Clara smiled. I knew you would. You deserve it. Natalie told Michael that night. He was at their house having coffee after dinner. Michael, I got promoted. He looked up. Really? Really, I'm going to be a supervisor. Michael stood up and hugged her. It was a strong, tight hug. Congratulations. You deserve it so much. Thank you for everything, for giving me this chance. You seized the chance. I just opened the door. Emma came running in. Why are you guys hugging? Because Mommy got promoted at work. What's promoted? It's when you do such a good job that they give you a better position. Emma jumped excitedly. One do. Mommy, you're awesome. The three of them laughed. Michael picked Emma up and spun her around. The girls squealed with joy. The weeks turned into months. Michael remained present, always there, always constant. He fixed things, brought books, drank coffee, had dinner with them, helped Emma with her homework, watched movies on the old sofa. There was nothing extraordinary. It was all simple, Common, normal, but it was everything. Emma had a presentation at school. A small play about forest animals. She was a rabbit. Are you coming to watch Mr. Michael? Of course I am. On the day of the presentation, Michael was there, sitting next to Natalie. Emma was beaming when she saw him. She did her part, hopped like a rabbit, said her lines. At the end, when everyone applauded, she searched for Michael with her eyes. He waved. She smiled wide. Afterward, the three went for ice cream. You were great, Michael said. I was nervous. It didn't show. You rocked it. Emma licked her ice cream, satisfied. Thanks for coming. I wouldn't have missed it for anything. Natalie watched. This was family. One night after Emma fell asleep, Natalie and Michael stayed in the living room. She made tea. He read an old magazine. Michael? Yes. Can I ask you something? Of course. Natalie sat next to him. Why do you do all this? Michael put the magazine aside. Do what? Come here. Take care of us. Fix things. Be present. Watch presentations. Read books to Emma. Have coffee with me. Michael thought for a moment. Because I want to. That's it. That's it. There's no complicated reason. I like being here. I like you too. But why? Michael looked at her. Because you make me feel whole. I have everything out there. Money, success, a company. But here I have something I never had. What? Family. Natalie felt her eyes sting. But we're not. I know. Not officially. But to me, you and Emma, you are my family. Natalie didn't answer. She just took his hand and squeezed. They sat there in silence. A comfortable silence. The months continued. Emma grew. She learned to read on her own. She read the books Michael brought. Sometimes she read aloud to him before bed. You're reading very well, he'd say. Tas, it's because you taught me. Your teacher taught you. But you helped me. You always help me. Michael smiled. That small but genuine smile that only appeared when he was with them. Natalie thrived at work. The promotion brought stability. She managed to pay the bills with ease. She bought new clothes for Emma, replaced the old sofa with a used but better one. And Michael was still there, always. He didn't live with them. He had his own apartment, but he was present, in all the ways that mattered. For Emma's birthday, they had a small party. 3 little friends from school. Natalie made a cake. Michael brought the gifts, books, new colored pencils, a puzzle. Emma blew out the candles. Made a wish. I can't tell or it won't come true. But Natalie knew. The wish was for this to continue, for Michael to stay here. A family. On a winter night, the 3 were on the sofa. Emma between Michael and Natalie. They were watching a movie. Emma fell asleep in the middle. Michael looked at her, then at Natalie. She's grown. She has. Seems like yesterday. It does. Almost a year already. 1 year, a lot has changed. Everything has changed. Michael carefully stroked Emma's hair. I never imagined my life would be like this. Like what? Full, complete, meaningful. Natalie rested her head on his shoulder. Mine too. They stayed there, the 3 of them. In silence, Emma sleeping, Michael and Natalie awake. Just existing together. There was no music, no conversation, just Emma's breathing, the warmth of the 3 of them together, the feeling of peace. They didn't call it family. They hadn't talked about it. They hadn't defined it. But it was. It was family in its purest form, not of blood, not of paper, but of choice, of presence, of a quiet love that built slowly, without rush, without demands. Michael wasn't Emma's father, but he was there every day, in the big moments and the small, at the school plays, the homework, the drawings, the books, the repairs, the dinners. Natalie wasn't Michael's wife, but she trusted him, completely. She knew he would never leave. Emma didn't call Michael Dad, but she knew he was more than Mr. Michael. He was someone who stayed, someone who cared. They were what they were, nameless, undefined, but solid, real, true. And maybe that was exactly how it needed to be, because sometimes the best things in life don't need a title, they just need presence, and presence was what they had. Constant presence, true presence, a presence that doesn't promise eternity but offers every day, one day at a time, one coffee at a time, one book at a time, one repair at a time, one dinner at a time, one smile at a time, and in the end, that's what built a life. Not the big moments, but the small ones, the quiet ones, the everyday ones. Natalie looked around. The apartment was still small, still simple, but now it had life. It had color. It had books on the shelves. It had Emma's drawings on the wall. It had Michael's presence in every corner. It had love, not the kind that shouted, the kind that whispered, the kind that was there, always, without fanfare. Life had settled, not all at once, not with big revolutions, but slowly, piece by piece, day after day. And now, looking at Emma sleeping peacefully, at Michael by her side, at the simple but full home, Natalie could finally breathe, not with difficulty, not with fear, but with peace. Because for the first time in a long time, she wasn't just surviving, she was living and living well, with a family that had no name. But that was real. More real than any title could ever make it. They didn't call it family, but it was,